Hello, welcome to the Football Mindset. My name is Brian, and it's an awesome day bringing you the latest sports news as well as information coming from your favorite team. We are going to be doing this every single day of the week, and of course, we remind you that you can subscribe as well as like, comment, as well as I recommend our channel to a lot of people around there. My name is Brian. You can call me Brian Roland, and of course, I have to remind you that this is going to be our first ever episode on this channel, bringing you latest news and information. And you can recommend to a friend and tell them that this is where the sports news is going to be all the way. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, and of course, enough of the introductions. It has been an awesome sporting weekend. Of course, for a few teams it's been exciting news. For other teams it's not been good news, and news coming in from Crystal Palace just a few hours back. Patrick Viera, you remember that Arsenal icon. He's been sacked after, of course, a run of 12 games without a win, and that has been seen coming. If you've been watching Crystal Palace and you saw the games they played against the big sides, the game they played against Manchester City, which of course was a game that they performed very well. Man City luckily got a penalty in that game, and they managed to go on and win the game. Then secondly, the other game against Manchester United, they also performed very well. You remember that final goal, the equalizer that they got in the last minutes of the game. We thought Manchester United would be a title contender, but that is one of the games that really quashed their hopes of being a top team in that game. And they went on to do a lot of things. This weekend, they're facing, that is the league leaders, Arsenal. It's not going to be an easy take for them, but we believe it's one of the games that they need to have a new approach to life, because now, after sacking Patrick Viera, looking at the stats from that interesting team, that is 3 points above the Premier League relegation. That means that they need to fight so that in the remaining, is it 12 games or 11 games? That is a confirmation I'll make for you. In the remaining games, they need to find a way of at least getting a winning formula. Remember, in this year alone, this calendar year, they've not even registered a win. So they even lost last night to Brighton. That is 1-0, a goal from match. And it is one of the things that I saw coming. Of course, Patrick Viera, highly rated, a 46-year-old manager, a winner as a player, but not had a successful, trip all the way in England. England is a little bit complicated. The teams that play in the English Premier League are teams that come with a lot of pressure. A lot of people were saying, he needed time and all that stuff. But Crystal Palace don't need a lot of introduction. They already know the Premier League. They've been there a couple of seasons. It's now coming, I think, to the 4th season that they're up in the Premier League, so they need to be performing to the levels. They have a budget that really gets to the level of all the other Premier League teams. And you remember, they have one of their best players, Wilfred Zaha. You think he's coming to the end of his career, especially in that team. He might go elsewhere and perform for 1 or 2 seasons on the high, but sometimes it's not a guarantee. We always look at these players that stay longer in teams and fail to move on to the teams that expect them to sign them. You remember, he played all the way to Manchester United. He had a very good, not a very good spell there. In fact, it was a very good spell there. And he came back to Crystal Palace. A lot of teams have come out and they wanted to sign him, but I think he held put to that team, and he didn't want to repeat the same mistakes that he did by going all the way to Manchester United. And you believe that that is one of the things that has been haunting them, especially having the star players not performing. So the only best thing that he did, Patrick Viera, I'm talking about Patrick Viera as a manager, he went all the way, and I think it was it a semi-final? I think it was a quarter-final. It was a semi-final. That was 2000 and was it 21 at Wembley, the FA Cup semi-final. And then last season he finished, that is in the 12th position in that team. So you've seen how he's performed. Everyone expected him to be a top manager, but things have not worked away, and that gave him something like a 30% win rate, which eventually made him being sacked. That is not even last, in the last few hours, not last night, because last night he lost to Brighton, and today he's been sacked as they're looking for a new manager. Yeah, they're going to be facing Arsenal this weekend. Arsenal themselves have not really had a very good, that is, a run of games, especially the last 2 or 3 games they've played. They've not really convincingly. Okay, you can say one of them was a little bit convincing. The Fulham one, the first half was 100% convincing, but we've seen mixed reactions, especially when they last lost to Man City. You've seen games coming in and they've performed 50-50. Some games they've been excellent. And the rotation in that team has been one of the key issues, especially when you look at that is Mikel Arteta. A lot of people expected him to be under pressure. You remember he lost his key player, Gabriel Jesus, after the World Cup. In the World Cup, then after the World Cup, he had to be out for over 3 months. So you expect any team that has key players to have issues, especially when their key man goes away from that team. I'll give you an example. We've not seen much of Manchester United. I saw Eric and Ten Hag coming out and talking about how Arsenal are very lucky not to have their players, especially going out with injuries in this season. And I've seen on Twitter, a lot of people coming out and commenting how Ten Hag is now their problem. Arsenal fans coming out and saying, they've listed 3 things. They've listed Ten Hag as being their problem. They've listed Kim Kardashian, because if you watched the Europa League last night, Kim Kardashian and his son attended that game at the Emirates Stadium. So they are saying they are part of their problems. One reason why they're saying Ten Hag is a problem, he commented about their players being available, and that is why Arsenal have been lucky to be on top of the league. And they had 2 players out in that game they played against Sporting Lisbon last night. First of all, William Saliba and Tomiyasu as well. Secondly, the other player that they both walked out of that game injured. The reports I'm getting, it's not so much of a complicated injury for both of them. They seem to be well, and they will be returning for the next couple of games that are going to be played this weekend. That is Arsenal on Sunday. They have a very, very interesting game against Crystal Palace. The reason why I'm talking about these 2 teams is because now Crystal Palace have had their manager sacked. Now Arsenal really need to make a statement. And when you question me about the game they played last night, what really was the problem? Why did they perform the way they are expected to be performing? One of the things I can say is that I think we saw it coming, especially when Mikel Arteta does the rotation in that midfield, when he gives Thomas Partey a rest and then gives Jorginho a chance to really come and do some kind of fill up in that team. It doesn't work that way. I don't think changing Jorginho and then changing Martin Odegaard and giving Fabio Viera a little bit of a chance to perform in that team is the way to go. I think if you're going to rotate your team, you need to be a little bit respectful, especially for a team like Arsenal that have players that are not on the same level when it comes to performances. When you see Bukayo Saka performing and you bring a Reece Nelson in that team, he does not perform to the expectations that you would really want to see, especially if a Saka player is not in a team. Then in the midfield, if you bring Jorginho and Thomas Partey, there are 2 type of players. Jorginho is more of a player that knows how to read the game, and he knows how to pass those long passes and, break those attacks. But one of the things that I've seen with Thomas Partey, he brings organization, he brings calmness to that midfield, and to me that was the key moment that really gave the game to Sporting Lisbon. I thought Mikel Arteta wanted to change his team, but gave so much of an opportunity to Sporting Lisbon to open them up, and you saw a lot of things happen in that game. One of the things that you can always not rule out and you cannot even forget in that game was the fantastic goal that Sporting Lisbon scored, and Aaron Ramsdale would really beat himself up and say I think he had the chance to really clear that ball if he was a little bit, maybe an inch, that is back to his box. But you would say that those are the things that happen, especially if your team does not do the necessary, that is a job they're supposed to be doing. I would not look at this game as a total disaster for Arsenal. I would say it might be 2 things. It might be a blessing in disguise if they go on to win the weekend game against Crystal Palace and also go on to win the other games, because now your fixture congestion is now not an issue. You cannot say that now I have a lot of fixtures that I need to really perform in. So I would say if they win that game against Crystal Palace on the weekend, they go 8 points clear. Remember, Man City are going in for the FA Cup, so they are not going to be playing the Premier League. So that will give them a little bit of leverage to go all the way and even afford to make a mistake in the next game, because if you're going to be playing Man City soon, you can give yourself a room of 8 points for you to perform. In case you do anything like a mistake, then it will be cut down to 5, so you still have a little bit of a breathing space with a few games to go, because now if they play this weekend, then it will be like something like 10 games to go. So they need to really perform to their best for them to really come out and at least be even in the last, up to now I'm seeing this, they are not even they're not even being called title contenders. You see a lot of people coming out and disapproving Arsenal as a team that can go all the way and win it. So they need to make that statement, and they only can do it by winning the games that they have. That is the few games that are remaining. And if you win those games, then you guarantee yourself at least breathing space in the next coming fixtures, which are going to be a little bit tougher. And I believe Man City will be concentrating in the other games. In fact, one of the things I can tell you is Man City need to really be 100% to their A game, because when you look at now the draw that has just been made, the UEFA Champions League draw, it's something that you say will eat them up. Now, when you compare the two teams that are in the UEFA Champions League, especially from England, that is Chelsea and Manchester City, the fixtures they are going to be having in the next couple of games, Manchester City as well as Chelsea are going to be facing both Bayern Munich, and Man City are going to be facing Bayern Munich, as well as the Blues are going to be facing Real Madrid. That is one of the things that I've noticed. Madrid, that is a little bit of a tougher, that is a fixture. So you expect that is a Man City to come out with their A game, because if you're going to be playing Bayern Munich, then you need to be to the top of your game. This is a team that has been dominating the European game for a while, so you need to come with your A games. You need to plan it very well. You need to rotate your players perfectly, and that to me is key to either Arsenal doing something more, a little bit of more convincing in the next game, or it will be up to Man City losing this trophy for the rest of the games that are going to be played. Thank you so much for being part of the Football Mindset. My name is Brian, and that is what we had for you today. We are going to be bringing you latest news and information coming in from your teams. And remember to subscribe, recommend it to a friend, share our videos, as well as keep it to the Football Mindset.